Well, welcome everybody to another CTC software webinar. Today we're going to be talking about Style Manager and what I consider the basics for using and setting up templates with Style Manager. My name is Tony Crick. I'm the Civil Product Manager here at CTC Software. If you're watching this live and you would like to ask a question as we go along, please enter it into the question panel and we'll try to get to it during the broadcast. And if not, we'll definitely get to it when we're through. And if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, then you can just enter a question there and we will get it and get back to you. As I mentioned, we have a YouTube channel and you never have to miss another webinar, as these are all recorded and will go out to the channel shortly after. And if you never want to miss another event, go to our website and register on our events page. So with that, let's move along. So as I said, we're talking about Style Manager today. It's part of the CIM Manager Suite of tools. It's intended for CAD managers or Civil 3D users supporting a production team. It will work in the last 4 versions of Civil 3D back to version 2020, being that we are now into the year 2024 and Civil 3D will have an update out, they're saying, in March. We will drop our support for 2020. So please note, if you're using version 2020, that you will need to upgrade to at least 2021 at that time. So with Style Manager, we can keep all of our templates and drawing styles up to date. We can do it in the current drawing. We can do it in an Excel spreadsheet. We can amend the Excel files and then import them into drawings. We can also use those to compare those styles against templates that we have or drawings that we're using those in. So we can quickly identify anything that might be amiss and fix those problems before they become bigger problems or out in a production set. So why Style Manager? Well, styles are the lifeblood of Civil 3D. Virtually everything we do in Civil 3D requires a style. Now we have a way to manage those styles more easily and see all those styles in your drawings in one easy application. Adding the styles in Civil 3D can be cumbersome, slow, tedious. We can easily miss styles. Style Manager will allow us to see all of those styles and then compare as we write out a template to an Excel to see what's wrong, as I mentioned before. So we can edit our styles from a drawing in a grid interface and do those live in the drawing. We see all the styles that are in the drawing. We can sort the categories either alphabetically or we match the Civil 3D tool space. And we can filter our categories by objects, labels, or table styles. And we have filters that enable you to find specific styles. And then we can replace any or all styles and anything specifically that you want to change. So we can replace them globally by name, description, created by, and so on. We can also add text qualifiers as prefix or suffix if we choose. And then, as I mentioned, export those to an Excel sheet that you can keep on hand for your files. And we can compare that Excel spreadsheet to any drawing and make changes to the current drawing or a set of drawings. We can use those Excel spreadsheets to maintain spreadsheets as a template for future use. And if things change, you can always change those templates to match any changes and then quickly incorporate those into your template drawing or any other drawing. So if you're using those for another company, for instance, and they have their styles, you might have a template for them and change everything over at once. So with that, let's get into some of the basics here. So we're going to start out here with a template drawing that I have here, using this main template, I'm going to call it. I'm going to compare it to this template just as a demo, and we'll see how some of these changes can affect other drawings. So with that, let's open Style Manager here. As I said, it's part of the Manager Suite of tools. If you don't have subscription to it, then you won't have access to it. These are separate, the Project Suite and the Manager Suite. And as I mentioned, it's mainly for keeping your drawings up to date and clean. So here's the user face. If you've never seen it before, we'll go through that real quick here. Looks just like our other tools for the most part. We have our pull down here where we can get at basically the same stuff that we can up here. We have our options tab. I mentioned that we can sort our tree structure over here to match our tool space, or we can do it alphabetically. So I have it matching right now. If I switch it to alphabetical and say OK, now we see alignments jumped up to the top. But our tool space is this. We're probably all used to seeing this like this. I typically leave it in that configuration. Should be in the settings in that configuration right there. But you do as you choose. So with that, I'm going to set it back to match that. Maybe if you're looking for a particular style and something you don't want to pick through the tree, if you're looking for parcels, for instance, you want to alphabetize that because they do get kind of buried in there. So we have some other settings here to remember it, and then the show date modified. That's not an editable field at this time, so I'm going to leave it off. So I'm going to say, OK, you see it changed real quickly there. And this video will be available here if you want to watch it at any time. If you miss something, you'll have a list of videos to choose from right here. You can get some help. That's our user guide and access to our user guide. And then if you have any questions or ideas, you can contact us here at support. And then the about just simply tells us what version we're on. And we're currently at 24.4. So if you have our tools and you're not at 24.4, I'd suggest that you download the latest installer right here. I don't believe you need to have administrative rights to do it with our new cloud licensing. I could be wrong, but give it a try and see what happens. So I see a question came in, and Juan is asking, all settings are stored in Excel files. Could it be possible to store them in other formats, JSON, CV, CSV? I don't know the answer to that. I will, Jason, if you'd like to contact us, or Juan, I mean, if you'd like to contact us with that question, contact support, and I will look into that. I don't really know. I'm guessing you could save it as a CSV. But again, like I said, I don't know the answer to that. So contact us here with that question, and I'll look into it. So where was I? Oh, live demo. So we're going along here, and we're trying to set up a template drawing. Like I said, we can change from our filtering right here. So what do we want to see in this? For this particular case, I'm gonna go with everything. So if I just clicked one category open here, I would see everything that's in here, multi-purpose styles and label styles in this case for general. If I wanted to see just the label styles, for instance, I could do like that. I could also just click these two off. Just another way to find things more easily and locate what you're looking for. But since we're going to create an Excel template for this demonstration, I'm going to turn everything on here. So you're only going to get, when you export down here, you're only going to get what you have highlighted. So in this case, we can open them all up right here to see what everything is if you wanted to pick through them. Or we can go here, and they don't need to be open to see everything. So we can leave it in this configuration right here, and I can just hit Shift, and it will populate everything over here. So we have general, like we said before, we got the multi-purpose styles, then it steps into the label styles, and we see that for everything. The list is very long. This is a very large template drawing that I've created here for our use, but you can see everything is included there. So let's go ahead and export all of these styles out. In fact, let me open that up so we can see it better. So let's go ahead and export everything out of here and into a file that we can then keep for, I'm going to call it our original for right now. But here's how we export it. And you set your destination path right here. So you might have that, or probably would have that on a network somewhere. If you're a CAD manager, you would certainly have that in a place that's accessible to you, where you can get at it and update it as you see fit. So you don't have to be in a drawing or anything to update it. You can just do that straight in your Excel. The default path, I'm leaving it right here. Let me delete some of these out of here. You know what? I'm going to go ahead. I'll just overwrite those. So, but the default path is your roaming app data. You can change that however you see fit. So I have everything selected here. You know, I take that back. Because I need to show you this. Been a little confusing to some folks, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that one out of there. In fact, I'll just delete them all. Well, I'll delete that one. Okay, so first thing we need to do, what can we do? Do we want to create a new sheet, or do we want to write to an existing sheet? So if I write to an existing sheet, I don't have one because I don't have a file yet. So I have to create that file. It's a little misleading here to say to open. If I had one, I could open it. I could go right to it. But I want to make a new one. So to do that, you have to come here and then come down to create your new Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to call this CTC Design Template. So now we have it. I have to click off of it to get it, so then I can open that. So now we created it, and I'm going to open it right here to be edited. So now you see it populated down here with Sheet 1. By default, that's the name that Excel gives to the first tab of the workbook. So I'm going to go ahead and write it to this existing sheet. Now I could say create new too if I wanted to. We'll do that in a second here, but for now I'm going to write it to the existing sheet, and I can't rename that or anything here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to export everything. So everything you see on the screen here right now is what we're going to get, everything that's in here. If I just selected one of these, as we talked about before, that would be all I would get. So that would be all I would get. Again, I'm going to come down and I'm going to grab all of these. Let me verify, scroll down, make sure we did get it. Yep, we have everything. So I'm going to export it. So we get that confirmation that it went out okay. So I'm going to open up my Explorer where it is. Right here, I lost it. So let me go to that path that I had. So I'm just going to copy my path right here into an Explorer window. Give me a second here while I get to our location. Okay. So we made this one right here. We can see it just got created, 12:15 Central Time. And here's all the styles that we have in here. So if I was going to change this, I might want to save this as a backup. We see everything that's in here. First thing I like to do is I like to come here and I like to make that bigger and bolder so I can see it. And then I like to freeze that top row so that as I'm scrolling through here, I can see what I'm dealing with because I included headers in my export. Which right here, I didn't note that before, but I included the headers. You don't need them if you don't want them. I think they come in handy. In most cases, I do that. So I'm going to change this name to, I'm going to call this my original, in case I need to go back to it for some reason. But I'm just going to call it all styles, call it original. So this would be, you might want to date that or however you want to do it, whatever you do to keep track of your tabs and templates. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And now we talked about we could write to an existing sheet. Let me close that so it repopulates. Or we can create another new sheet. So here we see that it showed up right there. We know we're grabbing it, we're pathed to it. And I could write that again to an existing sheet. I could also create a new sheet that it's going to make new. So I'm going to say create new sheet. And by default, you're going to get the sheet name is going to be this. So I've got everything selected. We won't get all of those. There's character limitations. So if you just had general, for instance, up here, you would just get general, the sheet. So if you wanted to separate those out, if you want to write out one for each category, you sure could do that too. Again, we're going to focus on all of them today. So I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to say create new sheet again. And it's already selected. I don't have to go pick it again. It knows that by default right there. And I can say export and then okay. And now I can open up that Excel again. And so these two are going to be identical. So I'm going to rename this one again. I'm going to call it all styles again, but I'm going to put a date on there. I don't think I can use that character. Oops. Just to keep track of where we're at, maybe keep a record of when you made these changes or whatever you choose to do. So with that, now we can come and we can check. So maybe this drawing came along for a while. Maybe we want to change a bunch of textiles. Created by. Maybe we want to make all these created by with your company name. Some of these are CTC. Some of these are straight out of the box. We can see there's been a lot of styles created. Some of these standard ones. I put CTC after a couple of them. Some of them I think are still standard. Autodesk. Regardless, let's see what we can do with some of these textiles. So all these textiles that exist in your drawing, we can select those. But being that it's an Excel formula, so if we wanted to change them all to, let's say, CTC standard, we can do that Excel-wise. So we can use our find and replace. So if we wanted to focus on our text styles, I can use the same find and replace. I do have to know the name of it. So I want to change them. As I said, I'm going to change these all to, so we know standard, just a jumping off point. We probably don't want to necessarily keep those. We like to have our own standard. It's never a good idea when you're creating your templates to use the out-of-the-box stuff. So I created one that's CTC for standard, for most of our standard things. We're going to change it to that. And if I wanted to, I could grab that. I'll do it here. If I wanted to change just one, if I wanted to do a drag to take care of that, I could do that. So if I wanted to do it this way, I could do it that way too, if I wanted to change big blocks of them. But there's a lot of them in here. So there's a lot of standards. I want to change those. So I'm going to do it the same way you would do it, a find and replace. Let's go to find replace. So just regular Excel stuff, which is how our tools are based. So we don't create anything proprietary. It's all based on Civil 3D styles and any other settings that you have created in your drawing. Unfortunately, we can't pick through it here, but I can go and I can find them all. So you see it highlighted down here as I pick through these. You can see they're all in that cell F. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to replace all. 461. So that would have taken you a long time. How long would that take you to go through the tool space to do it? So I'm going to say OK. I'm going to go ahead and close this and save it and close this. And natively, we would have to come through here if we wanted to change these. We would have to come through. Let's go to points, for instance, point label styles. I would have to come through each of these one at a time to do that. I wanted to change that. You see that style right there? We didn't affect that one. But if I had this standard one here, for instance, or anything else that's using standard, we would have to do it right there. Let's see, I think probably some of these probably use it too. Yeah, so we're standard there as well. So pretty tedious, as I mentioned before. So now with Style Manager, we can come in here, we can set all those back to what we just created there. So again, I have to highlight. If I want to do just my generals, I could do that. If I want to do it globally, I can do that here as well. So if I just did a search here for standard, let's say, we can use our filter windows. So we have all of these are tied to a standard, a name called standard. That's quite a lot of them. Probably don't want to do that. They're also pulling this standard text right here. So how do I change them? Come to my compare right here, and I can do this two ways. I can first see what I'm doing in there. So let me take this off of there. We'll get to that in a second. That's how we would do it to an external drawing. We don't have to have the drawing open. So you as a CAD manager could even go see or change and see to, well, in that drawing, what's being used. So we got to go get our spreadsheet. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to grab the one we just created. And now we see our tabs. So we've got the original, in case we wanted to fall back on it. We got the other one where we change things. So we have two ways of doing it, one by name and one by handle. The name is going to go specifically for a name. The handle is tied to the style itself, and I'll show you that in a second here. So if I highlight or tell it to highlight right there and compare, it's going to take a second or two because there's a lot of styles in here. So it's going through, it's reading from the drawing into the table. How I had no differences, I don't know. Let's go look at that. Did I grab the wrong? By name. Let's look at that. So did they not take CTC stamp? Oh, did I not save it? Let's save that and close it. Let me close this again. Just to be sure, let's reopen it. So let's look at that again. I think they should be coming through. And compare that. And make sure I grabbed the right one. That should be it. I'm gonna do my name, compare. Let's try it again. There we go. Okay, so it found 331 differences. Do I want to highlight them? Yeah. Let's highlight them. So here we can see as we come through here, there's our highlighted ones. Now I mentioned before going by handle or by name. So here we have a standard with standard and it's not highlighted. That's because it's keyed onto the handle. So if I come back here and I compare this again, but I change it to handle, we're going to see that it's going to find these also. Where's that guy? Wherever that one was, it'll show up here. So I'm going to compare that to, oh, it's right there. There it is. It's going to highlight that. So note that if we do this, so now I found 451. So if I say yes, right here, you see it highlighted those. So it's going to change that as well to that same CTC standard. It's just going to give it the name. Maybe you want to do that, I don't know. But if I come back to my compare window and I tell it to apply those changes, and I say compare, okay, it's going to change all those 459. I'm going to say okay right there. So as I do this, I see another question came in. It says if I rename an object style in the Excel file, it's not going to create a new style. We can't create new styles here. We have other tools that can assist you with that. It will rename it if you have an existing one, but it won't create a style. I hope that answers your question. And thanks for the question. So now you see it changed these also to that. Well, we don't want that. We for sure don't want that. So I can do one of two things here. I can tell it to undo right here. I think I can tell it to undo. Yes, I tell it to undo, and that's going to undo all of them. Now we had the original. I could go back to that too, or I can just come back. So I'm going to redo it here. So we have the undo and redo right here. So I could also come back to here and do my compare again, but change it back to name. And if I highlight them again, I think these are going to stay highlighted because they already have. The red indicates that it's been altered, and it's going to want to change that again. But now we see we only have 8 differences. Oh, because we have those changed. So I believe if I did a replace or a compare and replace, so I can replace some of these things too right here. That's specifically within the tree, within the drawing itself, has nothing to do with the Excel. But let me just undo back because that's not what we wanted it to do. So let me undo back and we'll go back to our handle, or by name, I mean, and we'll change those again. So it must be thinking in the background. Okay, there they went back, they're highlighted. So I can come back to compare by name and I can say apply. Now it won't affect these right here. It won't affect the naming ones. It will only grab the text styles. So I'm going to say yes right here. To replace them, we see they got replaced. These did not get affected, and I'm going to apply those to the drawing. So I see another question has come in. How does it handle child styles? Currently, it doesn't handle child styles. We are working on that. A little sticky in the child styles, but currently you would still have to go in and know those child styles and fix those manually. But like I said, we are working on that currently. Our developers are digging into how to handle that. But thanks for the question. So now we have all of these have been changed. Oops, do I still have it open? I do. So we should be able to go back to any one of these. Should be some in there. Let's try this one. Let's just try this one. So here we see it's got changed now to CTC standard. So that took care of all of our existing styles, how we want them. So how would that compare? So if we wanted to compare that and change, we had another drawing. Here, I can come here and do the same thing, and we can see what the differences are. So if we want to match any of these, that everything is the same, we can do that too, to a drawing right here. So again, I'm going to grab everything. Oops, Control, not Shift. Oh, we got it. So let's see what's over here. So we've really focused on the text styles. Let's see what's in here. Probably a bunch of these standards should be changed. And likewise, I believe that they need to be active in the drawing. So if you don't have the style that you want to change them to, you may need to go into your design center and drag them in. In fact, let's see if we have them. Let's see what's in here. Oops. So I'm not sure what this is going to do. Let's just see. I don't see the CTC standard. Let's see what happens. So let me open that back up. Let's go in this Style Manager. So this might answer the question about creating styles. I not 100%, but I don't think we can make styles in the drawing. And I'm pretty sure we can't even make the text style, but let's see what happens. The fun of the live webinars. See what it will do. I haven't tried that, but let's see. So let's compare. We're going to use this one again. Still there, remembers where we were. I don't have to go back and grab it. Going to go by name. Let's first highlight to see what's going to happen. And again, it's going to take a second or two. Digging through a lot of styles. 729 differences. Let's highlight those and see what we found. Oh, so we have a lot of different created bys. For some reason, these are created by Excel or Autodesk and not whatever they were before. I could change those, but we're going to see these standard styles. So we also have some descriptions that are bad. For some reason, these came through. We sure wouldn't want that. We could clean those up. So we got a lot of stuff right here. Let me leave it on this page, and let's go back to right here. We're going to do it, and let's apply the changes. This is probably going to take a second or two, and let's see what happens with the new text style. So again, it's going to take a second or two to pick through all of these styles and find what's changed. Do I want to apply them? Yes. And now you see we got even the descriptions changed. We've got the valve, and I didn't have to do it by handling, straight by name right there. So those are the things we want. Those are the things we want to change these to apparently Autodesk Inc. Don't know how that happened. And here's our text style. Let's try apply. I don't know if I'm going to get a error in here or not. Let's find one of these. Let's go by general. Go by general, label styles. So right off general note, we'll go look at that one. So let me minimize this. Let me close this. General, label style, note, general note. No, see, it hung on to it. So it didn't actually change it because I didn't have it in there. So let's try that again. Let me go back to the original that I had. I didn't save that out, did I? So let me open up Style Manager and see what's. So I guess if you're doing it, don't do it that way. Let me go with this general label style. See if it even changed it in here. General label style, note, general note. Yeah, see, it reverted it. So it didn't know it was there, so it wouldn't change it. Even though it highlighted it, it didn't change. So let me close that. Let's add that. Use my design center right here from my template drawing and go to my text style here and the CTC standard right here. Let me drop that in there. So now that's part of it, we should be able to change that. Let's go back again, grab them all. Shift, not Control. Let's compare one more time. Let's do a highlight again. Say yes. I don't remember what the number was before. So here it's going to change these all again. I don't know if it's just going to change this too. I don't recall what those other ones were that were going to change, but I don't see them highlighted on the list, so I believe those changed. So let's come back and let's apply the changes. Let's do it again. We're going to do everything across the board. $405. So we get that highlighted. Same stuff we saw before. Apply. So let me close. See what's in there. Now we see a change. So note that it has to be in your drawing. So if you're not seeing it change, it's not going to create that annotation style, but it will change it to the style you have in your drawing. So one more thing we can do is compare it to a drawing. We don't have to have the drawing open. I do have this one open. It's one of these two. I don't remember which one. Actually, I think I have them both. We have to do them one at a time. So we have, let's look at that for. So this one here, let me open that one. So this is an existing drawing, not a template. It's a drawing, actual drawing. See, since we were picking on this general note, general note, see what it is. So it's standard. So like I said, I don't have to have that drawing open. In fact, let me change to another drawing right here, and then we'll go look at that one. So we can compare, like I said before, we can compare what that current drawing style, what are in there, to what our template says. So again, we're going to compare this one, or let's add that drawing, this demo 1A. So we see right here the path to it. We got it. Let's go ahead and highlight again. It's 561 different changes. And again, I'll bet that text style isn't in there. But let's just see what all highlighted here. So we have something there, display no codes. So again, we have the same bad styles that came in here for these point styles. Let's try changing them. So let's say yes. These will update with the red as we have. So we'll look at that. Where are we at? Point style benchmark. So it's not going to update this drawing because I don't have it open, or I mean because I do have it open. So in this case, it should stay the same, but the file will change. Oh, we know that wasn't there. What was it? Point styles benchmark. So it should still have the same. No, it looks like it changed it. It changed it live in the drawing. So we learned something new right there. Okay, so it reached out, it grabbed it without me having that drawing open. And I think that's all I had to show for today. One more thing, we said we can find and replace things on the fly. I'll go through them all again, just to show you that functionality. Again, from here. So again, close. If I had right here, I want to just look for the standard ones, I could do that too. So now we have all these that are in this drawing. That name is standard. I could change those. So you probably still have a bunch of text that are standard too, because I don't believe I had that. Yeah, because we don't have that style. If we wanted to find all those, we could. One more thing I will show you, we talked about if we just wanted to look at specific categories. So we have all these names, just general. So if I tell it to create a new sheet, it's going to create general, and we're still in that same template one right here. So if I don't have to go pick it again, I just did. So I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to show you just how it creates another tab. It doesn't affect any of the other tabs that we created, which I was talking about before, of how you can make a tab for each category if you so choose. So let's open that back up again. And we see the general right here with all that. And again, when I wanted to change it, I could pick from them right here. We see that that CTC style isn't available, and some other things. We could globally change any or all of these if we wanted to. Again, I just like to do that every time. So that's all I really had to show you today. Let me check my notes here, make sure I covered everything. Looks like I did. And we will have more demos on this tool and others coming up. We're going to see a series next quarter of applying our tools to actual workflows. So with that, that concludes our webinar. Again, it's part of the CIM Manager Suite of tools. We have our CIM Project Suite of tools as well. I encourage you to visit our website if you need more information, or if you want it and don't have it, you can contact your local reseller. If they're not offering it, contact us here. We'd be happy to help you out. And as always, if you have any ideas or need help, contact our support. All of our tools are driven for people like you. We take all of your ideas to heart, and most of our tools are built to make your life easier from suggestions that you make. So with that, thank you for joining us today. And again, if you want to review this, it will be on our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to that at any time to get our full playlist.